Well, this morning, we are following the deputy involved shooting out of Clay County. A man is in custody after authorities say he tried to stab them with a syringe. The incident happened in Keystone Heights around 3:45 yesterday afternoon. Right now, we know no deputies were injured and the suspect was taken to the hospital.
The man has now died after being shot by Clay County deputies following an hours-long standoff. Dajshon Asbell died yesterday at the hospital after the deputy-involved shooting Friday. It started when deputies say they tried to serve him with arrest warrants at his home on Indian Trail in Keystone Heights. Deputies administered aid to Asbell before he was taken to the hospital.
Scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. Let's go. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune into Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They become disenchanted. They become disillusioned. They become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today more explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians can ever invent.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. The two short clips that you saw was all those news stations gave Dajshon Asbell, a young man who was killed in cold blood by the Keystone Heights, Clay County Police, and that's in Florida. He was shot on Friday, June the 20th, and he succumbed to his injuries this past Monday on June the 24th. Now I'm going to show you some actual footage from the standoff, but I'm also going to share some sentiments from a video that the family shares their concern with the inconsistencies that the police put out about the story. Now, the situation goes, and first of all, let me extend my sincere condolences to the Asbell family. The scripture says, blessed are those that mourn, so they will be comforted. And so I pray that the peace of God and the comfort of God will comfort y'all during this tough time. I had a chance to speak with one of the relatives who alerted me to some of the intricate details of the story, and I will share as much as I can with respect to what the family wishes to do going forward. But police came to serve him a probation violation warrant on Monday last week. And during that attempt, they alleged that they didn't serve him. He attempted to stab deputies with this mysterious syringe, and then they couldn't get him in custody, and he ran off into the woods. They're saying that he knows the area that well, so they couldn't catch him. And they're saying he disappeared for 4 days. And then 4 days later, they came to the house, and he ran out the house into like a utility building, a barn in the back of the house, and barricaded himself in there. And then his girlfriend ran in there after him. And they said it was about 4 hours that they negotiated with him. And during the negotiations, those negotiations didn't fall through. And then they began to tear gas the house. They said they tear gassed the house, according to the family member I spoke with, 4 times. And he still didn't come out. So then they say that they sent the SWAT team to bust down the door. And I'm going to show you that military style tank. They bust down the door, and then they said he ran out with the syringe and tried to stab several deputies, right? And in the midst of him trying to stab these deputies, they deployed the canine dog. And then the canine dog, they said that as the canine dog was attacking him, he made some stabbing motions with a sharp object to the dog, and he picked the dog up and threw the dog into like a building or something. And then that's when they shot him. They said they shot him, according to the family member, it was an AR-15. They shot him with, and then as he laid on the ground, they continued to shoot him with non-lethal bullets. He was transported to a hospital in which, according to the family member, they transported him or they hid him for about 3 or 4 days before the family was able to really locate him. And, they found him that Monday morning. And, when they saw him, his body was in very deplorable conditions. And I won't go into that, at the wishes of the family, but he succumbed to his injuries. And the family is devastated, of course, but they are very concerned with some of the narrative that has been put out. So I'm going to let you hear their voices, but I'm also going to let you hear the narrative from this Cook County sheriff as she does what those police officers do in all of these occasions, is create a false narrative. But first, let me show you these videos from a mysterious man who recorded the videos right before the shooting. All of a sudden, he stopped recording before the shooting. But just take a look at these videos of the quote-unquote standoff. All right, so there you see what they are calling the standoff. Now you see all of those police officers. You saw the military-style vehicle going in and about to take the door off, and you saw the police officers handing those big guns around. Now, all of this for a simple probation violation. It causes one to believe that they came out there with the intent, with military-style tanks and weapons to enact war and take this young man's life. Now, what I'm about to play now is a more in-depth news article that gives more information, but it also highlights some of the inconsistencies that the family has noticed as well.
The man and the family shot by Clay County deputies last night are demanding answers, claiming they're being kept in the dark. The shooting happened on Indian Trail in Keystone Heights. The sheriff's office says they were trying to serve a warrant to Dajshon Asbell for the second time this week when a standoff took place. News4Jax reporter Khalil Maycock joins us live in studio. Khalil, the family says things are not adding up.
Scott, the family says they are trying to figure out what happened, especially after listening to the sheriff's office briefing last night. They were left with a lot of questions that they haven't been able to get answered, and they feel like that's not right. Multiple law enforcement vehicles lined Indian Trail in Keystone Heights Friday night. They were here for a deputy-involved shooting. The man deputies were looking for was Dajshon Asbell. His family members say the shooting left him with 7 wounds.
There's too many conflict in stories.
The man you just heard from is Jimmy Scriven, a relative of Asbell. He and other family members say the story they heard last night from the sheriff's office isn't adding up, and they want answers. But before I get to what they feel are inconsistencies, let's start with what led up to the shooting. The Clay County Sheriff's Office says deputies have been looking for Asbell since Monday when they tried to serve him with a warrant for violation of probation. That day, investigators say he fought a deputy, tried to stab the deputy with a syringe, then ran off. The sheriff's office added assault charges, which they tried to serve Friday around 4 p.m. But when they came here, Asbell and his girlfriend ran into a building and refused to come out. The girlfriend eventually came out after deputies say they heard her asking to leave that building. The sheriff's office tried to negotiate with Asbell. He refused, and they eventually gassed the building, which still didn't force him out. Hours later, they broke down the door, and Asbell ran out with a sharp object in his hand and tried to stab deputies. What was explained next is something the family says is hard to believe.
A canine unit was deployed, and the Asbell actually grabbed the canine unit and made what appeared to be stabbing motions on the dog and flung the dog against a nearby trailer.
After this, the sheriff says he was shot with non-lethal ammunition.
To be precise, there's no way for someone to grab a canine. Let's just be honest about that. You cannot grab a canine, not a trained police canine, and make stabbing motions as an aggressive dog.
Shakiria Peterson is Asbell's sister. She says between the family not believing part of what was explained and not getting any answers, they're calling for more transparency.
My brother is not a bad person, and I won't let anybody paint him out to be that.
And they're hopeful to get answers soon. I reached out to the Clay County Sheriff's Office for comment. They replied saying, FDLE is the investigating agency. If the family feels there are inconsistencies, we need to wait until the conclusion of FDLE's investigation and witness accounts.
So there you hear the family, most importantly, the sister, expressing her doubts on what happened. And I feel the same way. If a dog is coming at you, there's no way you can pick a dog up, especially a big German Shepherd police call, and just hurl the dog off. From what I was told, the dog bit him on the arm so much that pieces of his arm was gone. And you're going to hear, and I'm going to play you the whole briefing. It's about 6 minutes long, and I'm going to have to stop it occasionally to point out just the complete lying of that witch in Clay County, excuse me. And once again, they were in Keystone Heights. Keystone Heights is a population in Florida about 1,500, about 93% white and 0.07% black. Now, Clay County is not that much better. It has about 70% white and about 12% black. So, certain articles I read said that, he took the girlfriend hostage, but you're going to clearly hear, as you heard her say, that the girlfriend ran in there with him. And so, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the girlfriend is a white girl. So, of course, when these predominantly white towns, black guy dating a white girl, they don't like that. So they're going to take any chance to go ahead and do like this history has done for years, especially in those southern towns when black men are involved with white women. They're going to take them out at the first opportunity. And so let's listen to this. And I'm going to be narrating this because, you're going to see her bumble and stumble and just create a terrible narrative of why this young man was shot. Now, keep in mind, these articles that you are seeing are before he passed. So that article that you just saw in this briefing is on the date of the shooting before he passed.
Good evening. I'm Sheriff Michelle Cook, and I am out here this evening in the Keystone Heights area of Clay County. We are out here in reference to an officer or deputy involved shooting. This incident actually began earlier this week when the Clay County Sheriff's Office responded to the 5700 block of Indian Trail. At that time, we were attempting to serve a warrant for VOP on a Dajshon Asbell. Dajshon was not cooperative at the time and began fighting the deputies and actually tried to stab a deputy with a syringe. The fight continued and Asbell ran into the woods and fled the scene. The deputies went and obtained a warrant for Asbell's arrest for the additional charges of assault and resisting with violence. Today, or Friday, at 3:45 p.m., the Clay County Sheriff's Office came back to the 5700 block of Indian Trail in an effort to serve the original warrant and this additional warrant on Asbell. When they pulled up into the yard, Asbell fled into a utility building, and actually his girlfriend at the time fled into the building with him.
Now, do you hear what she said? The girlfriend fled into the building with him. Now they're going to go with the old white girl, damsel in distress. Well, she was begging and pleading to be let out, like he coerced her to go in there. According to witnesses, she ran in there after him. And so there they go with the big black madman narrative that they always try to create.
They refused to come out of the building. After several minutes, the deputies on scene could hear the girlfriend asking to be let out of the building, and he refused. Several more minutes went by, and the woman that was in the building with him was able to escape out. Deputies.
Now, when have you known somebody who's refusing to let somebody out get out? If he was holding her hostage, she would have never left out the building.
Surrounded the building and attempted to negotiate with Asbell for several hours, asking him to please come out. He refused. At that point, the deputies initiated gas into the utility building in an effort to get him to come out, and he stayed in the building even with all of the gas going in. Negotiators continued talking to him, and we were into 4 or 5 hours of attempted negotiations with him. The CCSO SWAT team Bearcat was then deployed in an attempt to pull the front door off of the utility building. When that happened, Asbell fled out of the building with a sharp object in his hand and attempted to stab the deputies that were now surrounding the building.
Now imagine that. If you ever seen somebody pull the door off of a building, the deputies are not even running up there. So how is this man going to try to stab several deputies who are, as you saw in those videos, standing 20 and 30 and 40 feet back? That doesn't even make sense. And then as he's trying to stab him, they deploy the dog. In order to deploy a dog, a person has to be a considerable distance away from you for the dog to have to run and attack him.
A canine unit was deployed, and the Asbell actually grabbed the canine unit and made what appeared to be stabbing motions on the dog and flung the dog against a nearby trailer. Asbell then again has the sharp object.
Look. She can't even make the story make sense. Asbell then once she's already said he flung the dog away. So, but she's gonna say as he was attempting to stab the dog, that's when they shot him.
And at least we believe 3 deputies shot at Asbell.
At least we believe. Now, do you know or don't you know? Pretty sure you know.
Again, the canine is deployed, and the deputies now fearing for the dog and Asbell.
So the canine, once again, watch what she say. She said that they are still tied up, but he threw the dog away from them. Doesn't make sense.
Because they're all tied up again fighting, shoot non-lethal munitions at Asbell, at which time he goes down, and the deputies take him into custody. But even as they were taking him into custody, he fought the
They got to say that, oh, he was still fighting, so they can justify the numerous injuries and the condition of his body when his family did get to see him before he passed or as he was passing.
deputies. The deputies provided Asbell medical aid, and he was then transported to Shands, Gainesville. I'm happy to say that none of our deputies were injured.
Now, this is where it gets totally inhumane. First of all, we're going to talk about, the shell game they played with them as far as the hospitals that they said he went to, but the family was led on a goose chase trying to find the body.
A canine deputy that was here with his dog immediately grabbed his dog and began checking his dog for wounds. The dog was covered in blood. The hasty check of the dog at the scene did not reveal any wounds. The dog was then brought up to the local fire station here, where they were able to wash the blood off the dog again to ensure that the dog had no wounds and the dog does not appear to be injured. Mr. Asbell is subject.
Do you hear the concern they have for the dog? Once again, they tried to say he stabbed the dog, but it's clear the dog had no injuries, and that's why they shot him over a dog. Him making stabbing motions to the dog, and once again, the dog was biting him, and now he's dead because the dog was more important than this human life, according to these devils. I just gotta say it, these devils.
Asbell is at Shands, Gainesville. He is currently in surgery, and right now our deputies are down the street being interviewed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
You see how she swallowed hard and because she knows she's wrong.
Who will be taking the lead in this officer-involved investigation. Do you have any questions?
What was the warrant that was being served? What were those charges for the warrant that was being served on Mr. Asbell?
Earlier this week or tonight?
Tonight.
So tonight was the original VOP, violation of probation. And tonight's warrant, the additional warrant was also resisting a police officer and assault on a police officer because of the incident earlier this week where he attempted to stab the deputy with a syringe.
Earlier in this week when he disappeared into the woods, was there a search for him at that time?
Yes, sir. We did an extensive search for Asbell at that time, but he's been in this area quite a while and knows the area very well, and he eluded our capture.
So there they go with the super nigger swamp man theory that he's just so elusive. He used his super melanated powers to just disappear from us.
Do we know what the further charges are going to be once he's released from Shands Hospital?
No, we don't know what the charges from tonight are going to be. Just
look how she looks down because she knows he's never going to be released. She knows what they did to that young man after they had him in custody.
Yeah, but I would like to say that Asbell has a history of violence. He has been the suspect in previous violent cases. He has an arrest record that includes trespass, resisting a deputy previously, and burglary with a battery. So he is.
Did you hear her say trespass? That's a violent crime. Trespass. And the burglary with the battery is not, according to the family member, she explained the situation, and that's not what it seems. But a violation of probation is what brought the SWAT team and tear gas and all of those things out to the big black, bad black man.
He's not a good dude.
Is his girlfriend going to get any charges for this situation?
At this point, we're still investigating that, but based upon what was explained by the deputies on scene, I don't think so. But we're still investigating. We need to interview her.
Look at the stuttering. She knows she's not going to get that white girl any charges. Man, these people are evil.
Further to find out exactly what her involvement was.
And that's pretty much the end of the lies. Trying to paint Mr. Asbell as a violent person. Talking about he's not a good dude. Rest in peace, Dajshon. And condolences to your family. But, you know, once again, that press conference, those news articles that you saw, all except for one, was before he passed. But there's so much that the family told me. But, of course, they are, you know, going to pursue some legal action. So everything that, you know, that is wrong with this situation, I'm not at liberty to discuss right now. But, you know, as the family stated, like they have, you know, they need transparency. They haven't seen any body cam footage, which is going to tell that narrative. Oh, he was trying to stab the dog. And even if he was, once again, even if he stabbed a canine dog, is a canine dog worth more than a human life? I don't think so. Now, I know there's a lot of animal lovers out there, you know, what have you. Like every time I see people swerve because of an animal, I'm like, okay, would you rather die or would you rather run over the animal? You know, I put human life above everything, especially in this scenario. But, you know, this once again had no national coverage. You see the only 2 or 3 articles that there of it. It's like, you know, the life of a black man when it comes to the police is just, oh, well, you know, he shouldn't have resisted. He shouldn't have had a warrant. He shouldn't have did this. He shouldn't have did this. Once again, the penalty for committing crimes is going to jail, not death. So my prayers and condolences go out to the Asbell family. You know, it's a very horrific situation. A family member reached out to me Friday when it happened, and we didn't connect until after the day after or the day of that the young man passed. And, you know, she wanted me to get this story out. So if you guys are able to, you know, call down to Keystone Heights, Florida, to Clay County, share, put some pressure on them. Google the number and let them know, you know, how we feel about the demise of our young brother over a dog. Basically, that's what it boils down to. They're talking about he tried to stab him with a syringe twice, and they said the initial incident he tried to stab deputies with the syringe. Either you stab him or not. Like, what, you know, did he miss and then run? Because if he's in that close proximity to stab you, then of course you got an opportunity to grab him. And so, and we all know if a black man tries to stab a sheriff with a syringe, they're going to shoot. Definitely in Florida. And so, you know, once again, I hope, you know, this family receives justice. Once again, if you call down to the Keystone, Florida, or, you know, Clay County, you know, let them know that we see the inconsistencies, the lies, and the narrative that they're trying to paint. And, you know, we are going to be looking at this case, you know, definitely in the future, in the near future. But, you know, y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Once again, my prayers and condolences go to the family of Dajshon Asbell. And as always, thank y'all for watching. You see the number 919-587-7782. And as always, peace and blessings.
The scripture says all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. decide and a judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news don't muddle it. Before the jury decide and a judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long.